to Requiro. Today we are going to be talking about Luigi Mangione and the most latest updates on his case since my last video on Luigi Mangione. Literally, that video was like right after Luigi Mangione showed up in court for his court hearing in New York on the 16th of September. So there's been a lot of things happening since then, like a lot of political things have been happening in Luigi Mangione's case quite a bit since we saw Luigi Mangione last. So I just want to say sorry if this video comes out a little bit later than expected. I really wanted to wait for the United States government's response to when Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione and not said alleged or anything like that. And the day when I was going to film this video, it was the day the response was meant to come out anyway, the 8th of October 2025 Australian time. Normally that would happen on the 9th of September 2025. So yesterday a lot of things did come out. It was on the 9th of September 2025 Australian time. Yes, there's an official word for it, but I forget it every time. Anyway, so a lot of things did come out on that date, and also the response from the government when Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione, and then politicians retweeted that same thing. So a lot of things did happen yesterday morning, my time anyway, probably regular time if you were guys in the US or on that side of the world compared to me. So again, we will get to that part later on in the video because again, I do things in order, you know the gist, that's how I do things here. And all the sources and everything I use in this week's video will be up on the website on this week's episode. So if you guys want to go check it out, go ahead. And if there's anything I got wrong or anything like that, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll sure to pin the comment or bring it up in my next video. I always appreciate when you guys tell me I made a mistake. I am one person. These are very long videos. I do make mistakes. I am human, and I learnt my lesson on my last Luigi Mangione video of don't read really important documents when you're dead tired after watching a live stream that was very late. Again, I did make a couple of mistakes in my last video on Luigi Mangione. I do apologize about that. I made a community post about that. I tried to fix the problem, editing the short form video, but it was way too long to fix in the big version because again, that video was 3 hours long and it was going to be too hard to find the two little mistakes I made in that video. So I made a community post about it. I pinned a comment of my mistake and letting you guys know about it. So I do appreciate when people tell me I made a mistake. I'm human. I didn't make a mistake, and I was very tired reading those legal documents. And yeah, don't read legal documents when you're dead tired and then write notes about them the day of you were gonna make a video about the entire thing. Notes to you, mostly notes for me. So again, always appreciate you guys telling me where I made a mistake. Now, let's get into the video. This is the most current information we have on Luigi Mangione's case as me filming this week's video. It is October 10th, 2025. Hi, it's voiceover me. So I know on the 10th of October 2025 US time, a motion came out by Karen Agnifilo. It's a really big motion, and for me it was the 11th of October 2025 when that document came out. So again, I do live in Australia. I do live in a different time zone compared to the US. I will cover that document in a future video on Luigi Mangione, but I had a quick look at it and it's a very big motion, so I'll probably do something similar to of my last two videos about a motion by Karen Agnifilo that are really big. So keep an eye out for that. I just kind of want to put that here to clear things up. So I have seen that motion. I just live one day in the future compared to a lot of people in the US. And a couple of things I do want to say before we get into the video with the documents, what you came here for. So I mentioned in my last video I was going to have a closer look of the videos and photos of Luigi Mangione when we saw him on the 16th of September 2025, and I did have a closer look at the photos and videos of Luigi Mangione, and I don't really have too much things to say about it other than I found more photos of the bruising on Luigi Mangione's wrists, and it is a bit disheartening to see, but I do really want to put this here, so I do really want to talk about this. Again, it was at the end of my last video, but that was a big ass long video, and I made a short video about it too. Thank you people on TikTok to make that video get popular. I really want more people to talk about that. I'm surprised not many people were talking about that. Like, you can clearly see the bruising on his wrists when he was literally hunched over writing down notes. And I do think it was like another way for basically the police to like dehumanize him by literally not handcuffing him, and also like keeping the handcuffs attached to the belt. Again, I keep calling it a belt. I don't know what that thing is that's like wrapped around him where the handcuffs are attached to. I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna keep calling it a belt. Let me know what it's called. I generally don't know. Also, like, not letting Luigi wear like court approval clothing, and again, I think it's like another way for them to like dehumanize him and not like make him feel like a normal human being. And it is quite disheartening to see, and we still haven't heard any like news about why he wasn't allowed to wear court approval clothing, and we saw him in his prison uniform. Again, very sad to see, but I did want to put these photos up here of more photos of showing the bruising on his wrists. So again, you can go forward a little bit if you don't want to see it. It is very disheartening, and it's very sad to see seeing the bruisings on his wrists because of the handcuffs. Hi, it's voiceover me. So I do want to say sorry, majority of these are kind of blurry. It's just because I did have to zoom in quite a bit to show the bruising on his hands on like bigger photos of Luigi, but you can still very much see the bruising on his wrists from the handcuffs in the other photos, but the clearest photo we have of the bruising on Luigi Mangione's wrists is the first photo I showed you, and that's when he's hunched over writing notes in the courtroom. But yeah, it is very sad, the bruising on his wrists because of that, and I'm honestly quite surprised not many people were talking about it. Like, I think I only saw like two posts about it, and the third post was literally the one I made about it. And yeah, I'm surprised not many people were talking about it. And when I was discussing that with like other people in the Luigi Mangione community who support him, they're like very alarmed by it too. So, and they're also curious like why not many people were talking about it. And again, it's very sad. I hope something gets done about it to see. And another thing I do want to add here is I found quite interesting. So there are a couple of photos of Luigi when he was about to be walked away from the bench, and it was him talking to his legal team, and I'm just curious what he was saying. I think he was trying to get as much out as possible before he was like locked away again and has certain times to see his lawyers or not. Anyway, I just kind of curious what he was saying there. Like, again, they're just photos, we don't truly know, but I just found that interesting. But yeah, those are just my little notes of me taking like a closer look of like the footage and photos of Luigi Mangione when we saw him last. Again, I literally made the video the next day, so I didn't have like much time to actually look at the photos and videos and stuff like that to like report, I guess, for you guys. I don't know what this is. This isn't really reporting. It's more like just going, facts, here you go. Now, we're moving on to the thing all of you guys are here for, the documents. 17th of September 2025. So a couple of documents did come out on this day, and the first one is from Karen Agnifilo, and then the other documents are from Thomas Dickie. This is a order from Karen Agnifilo, and I'll put the document up on screen for you guys.
September 16th. 2025 request granted. The pre-trial motions deadlines are extended as follows. The defense motions are due by October 10th, 2025. The government's response is due by November 14th, 2025, and the defense's reply is due by November 21st, 2025. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to terminate DKT number 47. So order dated the 17th of September 2025 by ECF, the Honorable Margaret M. Gamet, U.S. District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York. NX10007 Re, United States vs. Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG. Dear Judge Gamut, the current schedule in the above referenced matter for pre-trial motions, not related to the constitutionality of the death penalty, is as follows. Defense motions due September 26, 2025, government's response due October 31st, 2025, and defense's reply due November 14, 2025. The defense respectfully requests the following modest adjustment to these deadlines. Defense motions due October 10, 2025, the government's response due November 14, 2025, and the defense's reply due November 21st, 2025. The government does not object to this request. Importantly, this request is made with the shared understanding that December 5th, 2025, pre-trial conference remains firmly in place. The parties agree that maintaining that date is a priority, and we do not seek any adjournment of the conference, notwithstanding the proposed adjustments to the motion schedule. Thank you for your consideration. Respectfully submitted, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, Mayor Agnifilo, Jacob Kaplan CC, Gut Counsel, via ECE, Moskowitz, Colson, Ginsburg and Schulman, via ECF. As per this court June 16th, 2025, order, the defense will be filing its death penalty motions this Friday, September 19th, 2025.
So basically this document is just basically Karen Agnifilo requesting to change dates about certain documents, some from the prosecutor's side, some from their side, etc. Again, it's just a document saying, hey, can we move things around, please? Basically that's what this document is. So both of these documents I'm going to show you are about the denial of the habeas corpus that was filed in my last video. You guys saw, if you remember that, but if you don't, because it was a long ass video, that's okay. It was filed by Thomas Dickie in my last video, and this is the government and the prosecutors in Pennsylvania denying it. And also, please take these documents with a little bit of skepticism. I did get these off Reddit, as I mentioned many times in the past. I sadly don't get a lot of access to a lot of the documents that's happening in the US compared to here where I live in Australia. I click the links, my laptop says you don't have access to this, and I don't have a VPN, so again, I do rely on some of the Reddit subs and also the Instagram pages I'm in to get these documents. So again, it's the internet, people can fake shit all the time, so take it with a little bit of skepticism. So I'll put this first document up on screen for you guys.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Luigi Nicholas Mangione, sequence number CP, filed date, document date, filed by service to service by issue date Dickey, Thomas M. the 9th of September 2025, service type E, service status date, service status served, the 17th of September 2025, Blair County District Attorney's Office, notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, Blair County District Attorney's Office, the 17th of September 2025, e-service served Dickey, Thomas M. the 17th of September 2025, e-service served.
So this is the document, the federal government who wants to deny the habeas corpus. So I'll put the document up on the screen for you guys.
The Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania vs. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, filed on behalf of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Peter J. Weeks, Esquire, District Attorney, PA, ID 201,051, Nicole M. Smith, Esquire, First Assistant District Attorney, PA, ID 200,855, Office of the District Attorney, Blair County Courthouse, 423 Allegheny Street, Suite 421, Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania 16648, 814-693-3010. Counsel of Record, Thomas M. Dickey, ESG. The Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania vs. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, and now comes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, by and through the District Attorney's Office of Blair County, and files this notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, and in support thereof avers the following. 1. Defendant, Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant, Mangione, was charged at the above-captioned criminal action numbers with forgery, utters forged writing, 18 par CS 4-101A3E3, firearms no IOB carried without license, 18 PACS $6,106A1, tamper records or identification, writings, 18 PACS $4,104A, possess instrument of crime, 18 PACS $907, and various related criminal offences too. On or about December 19, 2024, Defendant Mangione elected to waive his preliminary hearing with a preservation of habeas before immediately waiving extradition to the state of New York, where he faces homicide and related charges. Said extradition caused him to be removed from the jurisdiction of Blair County in order to first prosecute him on his homicide case. The undersigned served a detainer by email and hand service to secure Defendant Mangione's appearance after the conclusion of his homicide prosecution. Notably, the logistics and costs for the transportation and housing of Defendant Mangione were significantly greater than a typical inmate due to the intense media and public attention generated by the New York allegations. Further, there were significant security concerns regarding the custody and transportation of Defendant Mangione due to the public attention the case has received and the threats received by the criminal justice system regarding Defendant Mangione's prosecution. Subsequent to Defendant Mangione's custody being transferred from the Blair County Sheriff to the New York City Police Department, he was taken into custody by the United States government on a federal indictment of homicide and related charges. Consequently, Defendant Mangione was detained in a federal prison where he remains. The undersigned has been in communication with Assistant United States Attorney Frank Balsamillo, Dominic Gentile, and the other United States attorneys prosecuting Defendant Mangione for the purposes of providing discovery to the United States government and ascertain whether Defendant Mangione would be physically available for court appearances in Blair County during the pendency of his federal prosecution. On or about February 12, 2025, the undersigned received a letter from the United States Attorney's Southern District of New York, which indicated that Defendant Mangione would not be made physically available to Blair County until the disposition of his federal charges, including any sentencing proceedings. The letter also indicates that Defendant Mangione will be made available via video conference should he elect to proceed in any stages of his Blair County prosecution remotely. The Commonwealth received Defendant Mangione's presight to schedule hearing and demand for personal appearance on or about June 20, 2025 and immediately reached out to the federal prosecutor's office in New York on or about June 20, 2025. The undersigned received a letter from the United States Attorney's Southern District of New York, which indicated that Defendant Mangione would not be made physically available to Blair County until the disposition of his federal charges, including any sentencing proceedings. The letter also indicates that Defendant Mangione will be made available via video conference should he elect to proceed in any or all stages of his Blair County prosecution remotely. Subsequent to this correspondence and at the demand of Defendant Mangione's attorney, who repeatedly has declined to allow Defendant Mangione to participate remotely, the Commonwealth filed a petition for writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum with the court. The writ has been denied by the federal authorities. On or about September 8, 2025, the court signed a writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum. The Commonwealth immediately provided a time-stamped copy to the federal prosecutors assigned to the matter. The writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum was denied via email by the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York data analyst Sheena Wills on September 10, 2025. On the same date it was received, September 10, 2025, the undersigned emailed the court and Attorney Dickey noticed that the writ was denied. The court indicated that a document of record was required to memorialize the denial. On or about September 10, 2025, First Assistant Nicole Smith contacted data analyst Sheena Wills, who authored the original email denying the writ, and was informed that no further written correspondence would be forthcoming. Accordingly, the Commonwealth is submitting the instant filing to memorialize the correspondence received from federal prosecutors that the writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum is denied. Wherefore, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania respectfully requests this honorable court to enter an order acknowledging receipt of the attached correspondence and Defendant Mangione's unavailability pursuant to PAR Crim P600 unless Defendant Mangione elects to appear via video conferencing. Respectfully submitted, Flu Peter J. Weeks, Blair County District Attorney, 323 Allegheny Strip, Stoney's Office, Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania 16648, 814-693-3010. Respectfully submitted, Nicole M. Smith, First Assistant District Attorney, Blair County District Attorney's Office. The Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Certificate of Compliance. I certify that this filing complies with the provisions of the Public Access Policy of the Unified Judicial System of Pennsylvania. Case records of the appellate and trial courts that require filing confidential information and documents differently than non-confidential information and documents. Respectfully submitted, Etchell, Peter J. Weeks, District Attorney. In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Certificate of Service. I, Peter J. Weeks, District Attorney, do hereby certify that I have served on this day a true and correct copy of the foregoing motion via email to Thomas M. Dickie, Esquire, ESQ 308 Orchard Avenue, Altoona, Pennsylvania 16602. Date, September 17, 2025. Peter J. Weeks, ESQ, for the Commonwealth.
In the document, there's a couple of things I want to break down for you guys to kind of make it understandable. So basically in the document, it says they won't send Luigi Mangione to Pennsylvania from New York because it's going to be way more expensive than they thought it was going to be. If you guys remember in my last video, they said they would send Luigi Mangione to Pennsylvania, and now they're backtracking, saying no, we won't. It's going to be way too expensive because of the security for the police involved, and then also for Luigi himself, because apparently they've received death threats. So now they're backtracking, saying we won't send him now. I swear, the entire time they are going, we'll send him, we won't send him, we'll send him, we won't send him. Can we do it through Zoom? No, it's his right to be there. Let him be there. Like I said many times before in the past, it's the prosecutors on both sides in Pennsylvania and New York, it's pulling teeth, man. Painfully and slowly, and being difficult. It's also mentioned in the document, the Pennsylvania attorneys, they've received a letter from Luigi Mangione's legal team in New York saying Luigi Mangione won't be available to be there in person because he is busy in New York dealing with the New York charges against him, to be there in Pennsylvania to deal with the charges against him in Pennsylvania. It's also mentioned in the document Luigi Mangione wants to be there in person for the Pennsylvania charges. It is Luigi Mangione's right to be there in person, and Thomas Dickie really wants that to happen as well. So a couple of dates were brought up in the document. So basically the Habeas Corpus that has been filed, that was filed on September 8th, 2025 by the court, and it also was time-stamped and sent to the prosecutors in Pennsylvania. And of September 2025, an email was sent by a data analyst from New York denying the Habeas Corpus. Keep that in mind, it was a data analyst in New York who sent that email, not a judge, not a lawyer, not anyone who has power for this. Again, keep that in mind. We will go over another document having her in it, so keep that person in mind. And also on the same day, Thomas Dickie replied saying there needs to be a document of a record to memorialize the actual document, basically making it official and saying, yeah, this is the reason why. Basically breaking everything down, the reason why this has been cancelled is literally because Luigi Mangione can't be there in person, and Luigi Mangione keeps requesting to be there in person. Same thing with Thomas Dickie, but he can't be there in person because he is in New York and he doesn't want to do it through Zoom. I should probably stop saying Zoom and just say virtual, but whatever. I'm gonna keep saying Zoom. But basically that's what the whole thing is basically saying. The 18th of September 2025. This is a document from Karen Agnifilo. I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
September 18th, 2025 by ECF, the Honorable Margaret M. Garnett, U.S. District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York, NY 10007 Re, United States v. Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG, Dear Judge Garnett, on Friday, September 19, 2025. Counsel will be filing motions on behalf of Mr. Mangione challenging the constitutionality of the death penalty in this case. Although this court's individual rules limit memoranda of law to 8,750 words, counsel respectfully requests permission to file an oversized brief so that counsel can adequately address the various constitutional issues surrounding the death penalty in general and is specifically applied to Mr. Mangione. Given that the motion addresses numerous constitutional issues, counsel expects the brief to be approximately 31,500 words, that is, approximately 95 pages. We have spoken with the government, and they have chosen not to object to our request. Thank you for your consideration. Respectfully submitted, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, Mark Agnifilo, Jacob Kaplan CC, Gut Counsel, via ECF, Moskowitz, Colson, Ginsburg and Schulman, via ECF.
So basically in this document it's just saying, hey, we are requesting more words because this is such a big complicated case with like the media involved and other little things. They need more words to put in the motion to get rid of the death penalty that is normally required, and we haven't heard anything saying, hey, no, we have to stick to this amount of words. 19th of September 2025. I mentioned this in my last video on Luigi Mangione, but briefly, but basically this is the date when Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione without saying alleged or anything like that, and I'll go in more detail about this after I show you the clip.
Think about Mangione. He shot someone in the back. As clear as you're looking at me or I'm looking at you, he looked like a pure assassin. I was surprised, actually. You know, you would have thought this guy would have been at a central casting in the movie, and maybe he was. But he think of what he did. He openly, it's not like, gee, there's a question. If there's a question, you can understand it, maybe. But there's not a question. He walked up to a man, didn't give him warning, didn't say turn around, didn't do like the Old West where you have a gunfight, you know, you each have a gun. He shot him right in the middle of the back, instantly dead. And now he's like, I'm watching, the girls are going crazy for him. This is a sickness. This is, you know, this really has to be studied and investigated. It's not possible.
So basically, this was like a really big fucking thing. So basically, politicians, lawyers, police officers, anything with anyone dealing with a case like this, they're not allowed to go on TV and say a bunch of things and not say alleged or anything like that, because that can convince a bunch of people, or say they like Donald Trump and they support him and they were like in the middle about the situation, and then Donald Trump says this kind of stuff and not says alleged or anything. The people that could be involved in Luigi Mangione's case, that could be, oh, we think he did it, he definitely did it, and them having a unfair bias against him because the person they like and follow, like Donald Trump, and didn't say alleged or anything like that, thinking he's done it when he deserves a fair trial like everyone else. It's very fucking unfair. And also a lot of other politicians, they retweeted that interview or that little clip of that interview. They were like quite high ranking in the White House, and it's not a good thing for them to do that and politicians to do that. And like I mentioned in my last video, again, there was another clip coming out of like another politician who went on Fox News and mentioned Luigi Mangione's name and not said alleged or anything like that, and also making it more unfair for Luigi Mangione's case as well. Again, a lot of things came out yesterday. It happened again, literally on the day when the government responded for when Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione, and then they did it again at another conference with Donald Trump. So frustrating. We will get to that document when we get there, and it's happened about 3 times now, like, after Donald Trump said all those things, and I'm so mad I can't even talk about this. The 20th of September 2025. This is the motion written by Karen Agnifilo to get rid of the death penalty against Luigi Mangione. Go check out my last video about that. It's literally just a giant audio version of the entire document, so go check that out. I said it in that video, where in that video it's just going to be an audio version of the document, and here I'm going to go over the notes and things to break down to make it more understandable instead of like, oh my god, so complicated lawyer talk. So this is what this part of the video is. But if you haven't watched that video, go ahead. It's the just audio version of the document and a couple of like updates on his case. So at the start of the document, it does go over a little bit of who Luigi Mangione is as a person. Like, it mentions Luigi Mangione is Italian American. I remember at the very beginning when this all started, I think everyone kind of knew that already, but that was like when everyone was like digging up every little thing about him. But this is just confirming he is Italian American and has dual citizenship to Italy. And it also mentions what school he went to, what university he went to, and more of who he is as a person. And I think it's kind of sweet. It's kind of more confirming of like how sweet of a human being he actually is. And I'm not gonna go in depth about this. Again, like I said before in my past videos, I don't think I said it for a while, but I don't want to go digging into Luigi Mangione's life. I at least want to give him some privacy, even if every single person out there who's interested in Luigi Mangione is digging up every single little thing about him ever and posting it online for everyone to see. I can at least be one person who was trying not to do that. So again, we're not going to go over it in depth. I just thought I should add that here. I thought it was kind of sweet. We learned a little bit more of a nice human being he actually is. So the first half of the document just basically goes over how politicalized this entire case has been ever since the beginning, like the stage perp walk with all the police officers, and the mayor was there for some reason of New York, and photographers and all that. It's been very politicalized, this entire case, compared to say a regular case would be something similar to this for some reason. So that was mentioned, and if you guys like binge watch all my videos, you guys can very much see that. It was mentioned also in the document. It was very much making Luigi Mangione look like a comic book villain. I like that, but it is very true. It's like, I heard people say it was like Superman, one of the Superman movies. It was like something similar to that in that movie. They were comparing that to like Luigi, but in the document it was like a superhero villain when there's no reason for that to happen whatsoever, and just like a political stunt. And the second half of the document was basically just saying in depth like the death penalty was put on Luigi way too fast. Like, so many things happened, like they didn't go to his legal team to like discuss to have the death penalty put on Luigi Mangione. They just did it, and it was literally done just to launch a fucking Instagram page and announcing they're going to bring back the death penalty and using Luigi Mangione as a example of who they're gonna go first. Sorry if that scared the crap out of you. They literally just put it on him and go, yep, the law doesn't matter to us, we are the law. And it's like, what the fuck? The rules were there before you were literally elected. And again, this entire thing has been very politicalized this entire time. Like, fucking insane. And I'm getting so mad about this. Like, literally the things, like, going forward, like, we've seen what literally the president and other politicians have done. This is also brought up in the document, where the day when this motion was being written, they brought up briefly Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione, not saying alleged or anything like that. And again, this entire thing has been very politicalized this entire time, and literally they put the death penalty against Luigi Mangione in a matter of weeks instead of years or months, like when it's meant to take instead of like, yep, we're gonna do this and this is why. Okay, launch new Instagram page. It's so fucking frustrating. So basically in the document it goes in more depth of like, this is so fucked up and this shouldn't have happened this quickly behind Luigi Mangione's lawyers' backs, and not discuss it with them or anything like that. Like, it was done way too quickly to be official. They're literally just doing this to prove a fucking point and launch our Instagram page. Like, literally, Pam Bondi, the person who put the death penalty against Luigi Mangione, and launched her Instagram saying that, literally just did it to, like, say, impress Donald Trump or whatever. Like, what the fuck? It's also brought up in the document of like how complicated this entire case have been, literally how politicalized this entire thing has been for a jury to make a non-biased decision because of like how politicalized this entire case has been and how confusing this entire thing has been. So it will make it hard and confusing for a jury to make a actual good decision instead of making it really biased. So I mentioned this before in the past in like a couple of my other videos, but this entire case has been very politicalized and literally politicians are getting involved, not saying alleged or anything. Like, we've been seeing this since the beginning. Like, the mayor of New York said things about Luigi Mangione, the stage pub walk they did to make Luigi Mangione look like a big scary person when really he's not. And same thing with like when we've seen him in his court appearances, where one time we saw him in a vest, we saw him chained up, we've seen him chained up in like all of his court appearances. They, like I mentioned earlier in the video, they very much like still had his handcuffed connected to his belt thing he was wearing, and again trying to make him look so dangerous. Oh, we can't unhandcuff him, he's so dangerous. Oh, we have to keep the vest on him, he's so dangerous. We have to like do this because he's so dangerous. And literally, again, when there was no cameras in one of his court appearances, they did not do that whatsoever. But when there were cameras involved, they very much played it up like a lot. Like the stage pub walk, the vest, him not being unhandcuffed and still being attached to his belt, the literal chains on him instead of the belt thing that we've been seeing. Again, it's literally them trying to dehumanize him, to change the public's eye of how we should think of him, and it's fucking insane. And like, is basically the breakdown of that full document again. But basically through the first half of the document, it's very much just like everything we've been seeing ever since the beginning. And say if you like binge watch all my videos of Luigi Mangione, you will very much just see it all there. This is just all put into one place in this document. Or you can binge watch my videos, or do both. Do whatever you want. But if you do binge watch all my videos, you'll very much see this pattern that's mentioned in this document. I have it written in my notes. Okay, my brain zoned out. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm so tired and hungry. I was very tired when I wrote these notes. But I'm glad I wrote them when I did, because I don't think I would have remembered any of this when I woke up the next day. And if you binge watch all of my videos on Luigi Mangione, you very much see all of that in this document. Or if you guys don't want to do that, you can just like go watch my video that's basically an audio version of the full 114 page document. Again, go listen to it. It's a long ass document. I don't expect you guys to like watch the entire thing in one go. It's 4 hours and a bit. Again, big ass document, but if you guys want to go listen to it, go ahead, take breaks, I don't mind. It's a really long video, and I'm sorry that's like the longest video on my channel. I promise I won't do that again. Hopefully we don't get another one that's as long. Maybe we will. We'll see. I do recommend to go watch that video if you just want to listen to the full 114 page motion written by Karen Agnifilo. I know not a lot of people have like time to read that full motion, or they have difficult reading, or they like can't see that well or any reason, or they're just busy and they don't have time to read a full page motion and they just want a nap once they get home instead of reading this full motion. So it's an audio version, go listen to it. I don't mind if you take breaks, it's a long ass video. I remember when I first started this channel a couple of months ago, and I originally planned this channel to be like things that people should like talk about that are like really important but like no one cares about, and also Luigi Mangione time to time. And now it's like the other way around. It's like Luigi Mangione and then other things sometimes. This was not my intention, this entire channel being 95% Luigi Mangione's case, but it's all the accurate information all in one place. That's what I'm gonna keep doing. The 22nd of September 2025. Please take this document with a little bit of skepticism. I did get this from Instagram, another document about the Habeas Corpus, so I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
The 22nd of September 2025. Dickey, Thomas M. Objection to transfer of proceedings. Blair County District Attorney's Office. The 29th of September 2025. E-notice notified. The 22nd of September 2025. Dickey, Thomas M. Defendant's response. Objection to Commonwealth's notice of denial of habeas corpus. Blair County District Attorney's Office. The 29th of September 2025. Notice notified.
23rd of September 2025. This is basically a document from Karen Agnifilo talking about when Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione, and not said alleged or anything like that, and basically saying, hey, why are they doing this? This is not fair for Luigi Mangione's case. Something needs to be done right now about this. Again, I showed you the clip earlier, but it's basically just going over that, and also other politicians who retweeted that same clip on Twitter. Again, I'll put it up on screen for you guys. I don't care, it's called X now, it's still fucking Twitter, alright? Anyway, I'll put the document up on screen for you guys.
September 23rd, 2025 via ECF and email. The Honorable Margaret M. Garnett, United States District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York, New York, 10007 Re, United States vs. Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG. Dear Judge Garnett, since the filing of Mr. Mangione's motion challenging the constitutionality of the death penalty, hereafter referred to as the death penalty motion, on September 19, 2025, 1. The government has continued to prejudice his right to a fair trial in a death penalty case in violation of his Fifth and Eighth Amendment rights. On September 18, 2025, the President of the United States appeared on Fox News Channel and stated that Mr. Mangione shot someone in the back. As clear as you're looking at me, he shot him right in the middle of the back, instantly dead. On September 19, 2025. This Fox News clip was then tweeted by a White House-affiliated X account at Rapid Response 47. 2. A screenshot of the post appears below. 1. ECF Doc. Number 51. 2. This account states that it has been independently verified by the X social media platform as being an at White House affiliate. The post indicates that it has been viewed more than 300,000 times. See link https x.com/rapidresponse47/19687639397405905553s=46 and CT equals RW null. Margaret M. Garnett, September 23, 2025. 2. This post was then retweeted by an account belonging to an individual whose LinkedIn page states that he is the Deputy Director of the Department of Justice Office of Public Affairs, working for the Attorney General of the United States. 3. With the added statement, at POTUS is absolutely right. 4. On Margaret M. Garnett, September 23, 2025. 3. A screenshot of the now deleted post is included below. On Margaret M. Garnett, September 23, 2025. 4. The following day, September 20th, 2025, an X account, identified as belonging to the Chief of Staff and Associate Deputy Attorney General for the Deputy Attorney General, retweeted the same post. 5. A screenshot of this now deleted post is provided below with a red arrow indicating where it states that it had been retweeted by this account. On Margaret M. Garnett, September 23, 2025. On September 22, 2025, the White House press secretary referred to Mr. Mangione as a left-wing assassin who shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson right in the back in New York City while speaking at a White House press briefing 6 Next. In an official White House press release dated September 22, 20257, titled President Trump Isn't Backing Down from Crushing Radical Left Violence, Mr. Mangione's name was referenced in support of the president's designation of a domestic terrorist organization. 8. And finally, on the evening of September 23, 2025, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy appeared on Fox News Channel and stated, of course, the healthcare CEO was brutally gunned down by another self-described so-called anti-fascist that was then celebrated by other self-described anti-fascists. So, of course, really communist revolutionaries, the government very well knows this statement to be false as they're in possession of his alleged extensive journal writings, where the writer never once mentions being anti- or pro-fascist. The White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy then retweeted this Fox News Channel clip to his 1.5 million ex-followers. See below, with a red arrow indicating that it was reposted by this account. 6. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt briefs members of the media, September 22, 2025, September 22, 2025, https://www.whitehouse.gov/videos/press secretary Caroline Leavitt briefs members of the media Sep 22-2025. 7. The White House President Trump isn't backing down from crushing radical left violence, September 22, 2025, https://www.whitehouse.gov/articles/2025/09/President Trump isn't backing down from crushing radical left violence. 8. Mr. Mangione is not charged with terrorism in either the instant case or in the New York State case. On December 19, 2025, a New York County Supreme Court judge dismissed the 2 state terrorism-related charges. Government has indelibly prejudiced Mr. Mangione by baselessly linking him to unrelated violent events and left-wing extremist groups, despite there being no connection or affiliation. A recent, tragic, high-profile murder has only increased this prejudicial rhetoric. The attempts to connect Mr. Mangione with these incidents and paint him as a left-wing violent extremist are false, prejudicial, and part of a greater political narrative that has no place in any criminal case, especially one where the death penalty is at stake. Mr. Mangione in fact does not support these violent actions, does not condone past or future political violence, nor is he in any way aligned with the group mentioned in the White House press release. On April 25, 2025, this court ordered the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York to advise the United States Attorney General to read Local Criminal Rule 23.1. On April 30, 2025, the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York informed the court that he had notified the Office of the Deputy Attorney General of the court's instruction per Local Criminal Rule 23.1, which confirmed that it would in turn notify the Attorney General. Accordingly, this Justice Department is knowingly and intentionally in violation of this court's order by continuing to make false and damaging statements in this death penalty case. Respectfully submitted, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, Mark Agnifilo, Jacob Kaplan Agnifilo, Intrator LLP, 445 Park Avenue, 7th FL, New York, New York 10022.
In the document, hey, there is an official rule. Politicians, lawyers, police officers, they're not meant to do this kind of stuff towards a person who is on trial, or even before they go on trial. A trial date has not even been set yet, I think, as me reading this document. I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments down below, but be nice about it. They mentioned in the document other politicians that work in the White House retweeted the same clip on Twitter, and they're actually ranking quite high up in the White House to do this, and it's literally mentioned in the document like, hey, they're not meant to do this for like people's cases. And again, we will hear their fucking response to this. It's infuriating. So it's brought up in the document, this is also violating Luigi Mangione's rights. We've heard this so many times, like, Luigi Mangione's rights have been violated so many goddamn times in this entire fucking case. I swear, I read something this morning and I'm mad about it, and it's literally from frickin' politicians and shit for this case. It's also brought up in the document on the 22nd of September 2025. The House Secretary went on TV and said Luigi Mangione is a extreme leftist, and saying a bunch of things about him and not saying alleged or anything like that. Again, what the fuck? And it is very much making Luigi Mangione's case, and it's very much affecting Luigi Mangione's case, because if politicians and all that say that kind of stuff and not say alleged or anything like that, it can change people's minds who like them and not give Luigi Mangione a fair trial that he deserves. Again, we've been seeing this so many times, and it's happening more and more over the last month or so on Luigi Mangione's case. It's so fucking frustrating to watch. It's like, what the fuck are they doing? So here's a document that also came out on the same day, but this is from Thomas Dickie about the denial of habeas corpus and defending it like, hey, we should keep this. So I'll put it up on screen for you guys. Hi, it's voiceover me. So I totally forgot to add this when I was recording, but I did get this document from Instagram, so do take this document with a little bit of skepticism.
The 23rd of September 2025 Dickey, Thomas M. Defendant's response/objection to Commonwealth's notice of denial of habeas corpus ad Prosequendum Blair County District Attorney's Office. The 23rd of September 2025 e-service served.
The 4th of September 2025. Many documents did come out on the same day, but again, we go in order. So the first document I'm going to show you guys, so this is literally came out the next day. This is from a judge responding to Karen Agnifilo's document about basically politicians are not allowed to go on TV and just say, oh yeah, they definitely did this to Luigi Mangione, like they're meant to say alleged and all that. So very speedy response. So I'll put the document up on the screen for you guys.
USDCSDNY document electronically filed doc N, date filed, the 24th of September 2025, United States District Court Southern District of New York, United States of America v. Luigi Nicholas Mangione 25 CR 00176, MMG, Order Defendant, S. Margaret M. Garnett, United States District Judge, on September 23, 2025, the defendant filed a letter advising the court of various public statements made about this case by various members of the government. DKT, number 52. It appears from this letter that multiple employees at the Department of Justice may have violated Local Criminal Rule 23.1 and this court's order of April 25, 2025, specifically identifying the strictures of this rule for counsel and directing the prosecution team to ensure that the highest levels of the Department of Justice, up to and including Attorney General Bondi, were aware of and understood they were bound by this rule. For the avoidance of doubt or confusion, the rule provides that, in a criminal case, it is the duty of the lawyer or law firm, and of non-lawyer personnel employed by a lawyer's office or subject to a lawyer's supervision, not to release or authorize the release of opinion that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication, in connection with pending criminal litigation with which they are associated, if there is a substantial likelihood that the dissemination will interfere with a fair trial or otherwise prejudice the due administration of justice. Local Criminal Rule 23.1, emphasis added. The rule goes on to state that AJNY opinion as to the accused's guilt or innocence, or as to the merits of the case or the evidence in the case, is a matter that presumptively involve such a substantial likelihood, ID. At D7, the statements referenced in September 23 letter by two high-ranking staff members of the Department of Justice, including within the Office of Attorney General, appear to be in direct violation of this rule and the court's April 25 order. Accordingly, the government is directed to respond to those portions of September 23 letter by October 3, 2025, and to include with their response a sworn declaration from a person of suitable authority, that is at least Ms. Howell or Mr. Buckley, in his capacity as acting U.S. Attorney for this matter, if not an official at Main Justice, that explains to the court how these violations occurred, despite the court's April 25th order, and what steps are being taken to ensure that no future violations occur. The government is also directed to advise the Deputy Attorney General, for dissemination within the department as appropriate, that future violations may result in sanctions, which could include personal financial penalties, contempt of court findings, or relief specific to the prosecution of this matter. The government's declaration shall also include confirmation that this message has been conveyed to the Deputy Attorney General. The court will consider the other statements referenced in September 23 letter in connection with the defendant's death penalty motion filed on September 19, 2025, and the government may include any response to those statements in its opposition to the death penalty motion on the schedule previously set by the court. So ordered. Dated September 24, 2025, New York. New York, Margaret MGRNETT, United States District Judge.
But basically in the document the judge just says, hey, you guys need to explain your actions. Why did this happen? This should not happen again. We need a review of how the hell did this happen. You have up to October 3rd to reply. Again, we had a response on that day. We're gonna go to that point of the document later on. The United States government has up to October 3rd to respond, to explain their actions of like, why the hell did this happen? And if they don't, things will happen in Luigi Mangione's case that they probably will not like. So this is a document filed by Thomas Dickie, basically saying, hey, we reject your rejection of the habeas corpus. So I'll put the document up on screen for you guys, but please take this document with a little bit of skepticism, because I did get this from Reddit. So take this document with a little bit of skepticism, but I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
County Clerk of Courts received the 22nd of September 2025 4:12 p.m. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania, No. CP07CR0002724-2024 v. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Defendant's response objection to Commonwealth's notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum filed on behalf of Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant Attorney for Defendant Thomas M. Dickie, Esquire, Pennsylvania ID 41475, Tom Dickie Law Offices, PC 308 Orchard Avenue, Altoona, Pennsylvania 16602. In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, No. CP07CR0002724-2024 OTNF 1,009,165-33 versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, 5OU. Defendant's response objection to N. Commonwealth's notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum. And now comes Luigi Nicholas Mangione, defendant above named, by and through his attorney, Thomas M. Dickie, Esquire, and files this response to Commonwealth's notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, respectfully representing as follows. The Commonwealth had filed on or about September 9, 2025, a notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, hereinafter referred to as the notice. In its notice, the Commonwealth has alleged in paragraph number 11 that the writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum was denied via email by United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York data analyst Sheena Wills on September 10, 2025. Emphasis added, 2. The Commonwealth further set forth in said notice, under paragraph number 12, that on the same date it was received, September 10, 2025, the undersigned emailed the court and Attorney Dickie noticed that the writ was denied. The court indicated that a document of record was required to memorialize the denial. Defendant believes that this paragraph was, in part, a reference to an email received from the Honorable Judge Jackie A. Berner dated September 10, 2025, in response to the Commonwealth notice. Said email noted in relevant part the following: while I understand and appreciate the promptness of the notice, Something more official will need to be filed for the record. Please file a document of record with documentation identifying / from the appropriate decision maker. Emphasis added COL in response to said email. The Commonwealth submits that on or about September 10th, 2025. First Assistant Nicole Smith contacted data analyst Sheena Wills, who was informed that no further written correspondence would be forthcoming. It appears that the Commonwealth intends its notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum filed on September 17, 2025, to serve as and/or to constitute its final document of record relative to the denial of the writ. This is supported by the language stating, accordingly, the Commonwealth is submitting the instant filing to memorialise the correspondence received from the federal prosecutors that the writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum is denied. 2. Defendant objects to the Commonwealth's recent submission and avers that it is both insufficient and deficient as a document of record, or other appropriate document or record necessary to the denial of the writ, for reasons including, but not limited to, of the following: no correspondence whatsoever has been received from any federal prosecutor. The only correspondence is an email from a data analyst. No information is contained in the Commonwealth notice setting forth an explanation of what a data analyst is and how said analyst has any authority to deny the writ, or how she is an appropriate decision maker as requested by the Honourable Judge Jackie Bernard. Said email from the data analyst is not an official document authorised by a federal district court judge or a United States attorney or assistant United States attorney necessary for the denial of the writ. Any decision denying the writ is an administrative decision and not a secretarial one. Further, the authority to deny the writ is restricted and limited to those persons authorised under federal law. The Commonwealth cites no state nor federal statutory authority or other protocol purporting that a data analyst has the authority to deny compliance with a writ. Defendant avers that his right to be present at every critical stage of his prosecution is protected and guaranteed under the Sixth Amendment of both the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth. Defendant further avers that those persons / entities with proper authority to deny the writ are limited and set Title 28 of the United States Code, as well as the Code of Federal Regulations, and a data analyst is not one of those persons with such power. Said communication from the data analyst indicated that any further inquiries please contact U.S. Attorney's Office. The Commonwealth in its notice sets forth no indicia of any additional efforts made or attempted with the U.S. Attorney's Office. The only additional information set forth in said notice is a follow-up contact with the data analyst, author of the original email 6. The defendant demands and insists that he be present in person for any and all critical stage proceedings in Pennsylvania and will not agree to waive or diminish in any way. His right to be present is protected by both the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth. 7. The defendant believes and avers that the Commonwealth, up to this point, has not exercised due diligence in its attempts to make the defendant available in person for all court proceedings. Wherefore, the defendant prays and requests that this honourable court enter an order, scheduling a hearing on all motions relative to the defendant's availability and or due diligence efforts made by the Commonwealth, and or attributing all time periods on the Commonwealth for Rule 600 purposes due to its lack of due diligence for reasons set forth in this motion, and or C entering any other relief deemed appropriate. Respectfully submitted, Tom Dickie Law Officers, PC Thomas M. Dickie, Esquire, Attorney for Defendant. There's policy certification. I certify that this filing complies with the provisions of the public access policy of the Unified Judicial System of Pennsylvania. Case records of the appellate and trial courts that require filing confidential information and documents differently than non-confidential informsitip and document.
So this bit I found very interesting in the document. I mentioned it before, like, keep an eye out for this person. Thomas Dickie brings out basically the person who wrote and sent the email denying the habeas corpus to happen was a data analyst from New York, and they have no authority to actually, like, send that kind of email and, like, deny that compared to a judge or a lawyer or anything like that. So they have no official, like, grounding to say, yeah, this can happen, this is why it's happening, whatsoever. So they have, like, no authority to do that. I found that very interesting. So if you guys remember, brownie point. It's also brought up in the document the Commonwealth just has not tried whatsoever to send Luigi to Pennsylvania whatsoever, like literally they haven't even bothered. It's also brought up again in the document we've seen many times in other documents by Thomas Dickie, saying Luigi Mangione does have the right to be there in person for all of his court appearances in Pennsylvania. He definitely does. Again, we've seen it many times. So I find this quite interesting. So now the prosecutors and the Pennsylvania side of things are slipping up now, instead of just people in the New York case. I guess because we've been hearing a lot more about things happening in the New York side of things compared to the things happening in Pennsylvania. But I do find that quite interesting, I think, anyway. It's voice over me. So when I was doing the timestamps for this video, I got to this part of the video and I don't know how in hell it did it, but basically some of my footage overlapped over other footage, so I was basically just talking over myself and you could not understand a goddamn thing. So basically in this part of the video I was explaining the reason why the Luigi Mangione's appearance in Pennsylvania has been cancelled. It was cancelled because Luigi Mangione can't be in Pennsylvania because he is in New York, and I'm moving on to a different document that was released on the same day when Luigi Mangione was meant to be showing up in Pennsylvania on the 7th of November around 1 p.m. But yeah, sorry about that. It was very annoying and I have no idea how the hell it happened before this was actually cancelled. Again, take it with a little bit of skepticism. This document is from Reddit, so I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
Of Common Pleas Calendar Schedule Report Docket Number Court of Common Pleas Blair Omnibus Pre-Trial Motion Hearing the 11th of July 2025 1:30 p.m. CP 07CR 000274-2024 Com vs Mangione, Luigi Nicholas Status Presiding Authority Location Lead Offense Forgery, utters forged writing schedule Bernard, Jackie Atherton CPCMS 1283, printed, the 25th of September 2025 9:19 a.m.
This is another document saying when Luigi Mangione was meant to be in Pennsylvania. Again, I got this document from Reddit, take it with a little bit of skepticism, but again, Luigi Mangione was meant to be in Pennsylvania, but it's been cancelled. But again, this was posted before that was announced, so I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
Case search. Docket number CP 07CR 000274-2024 Court type. Common Pleas Case Caption Com vs Mangione, Luigi Nicholas County Blair Event type. Omnibus Pre-Trial Motion Hearing Event Status Scheduled Event Date 7/11/2025 1:30 p.m.
Surprised how many documents have been coming out on the same day instead of every other day lately. I find that quite interesting. Hi, it's voice over me. So when I was recording, I accidentally said the 8th of September instead of the 9th of September 2025. So these two documents came out on the 9th of September 2025. So basically this is a document from the judge in Pennsylvania asking the prosecutors in Pennsylvania to show actual proof to have the habeas corpus be rejected. Please take this document with a little bit of skepticism. I did get this from Reddit. So I'll put the document up on screen for you guys.
The 29th of September 2025, the 29th of September 2025 order directing the Commonwealth to provide documentation in support of writ denial / see order Blair County District Attorney's Office, the 29th of September 2025 e-service served Dickey, Thomas M. The 29th of September 2025 e-service served Bernard, Jackie Atherton.
This is a document from the judge in Pennsylvania cancelling the November 7th appearance of Luigi Mangione meant to show up in Pennsylvania. Do take this document with a little bit of skepticism. I did get this from Instagram. I'm sorry if you guys are getting annoyed of me saying that with every other document, but I do want to say that here with every single document I get offline. I do want to say that instead of saying, oh, it's fact, when it could be not. So I'm gonna keep saying it's where I got it from, if it's not from a official source. And I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant Hon Jackie Atherton Bernard Pete Weeks, Esquire Nicole Smith, Esquire Thomas Dickie, Esquire number 2024 CR 2724 Presiding Judge District Attorney S. First Assistant District Attorney Counsel for Defendant Order. And now, this 29th day of September, 2025. The court, having received the Commonwealth's notice of federal government's denial of writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, and also the defendant's filing entitled Response/Objection to Commonwealth's notice of federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, entry of the following order is deemed appropriate. It is hereby ordered, directed, and decreed that 1. The Commonwealth shall provide documentation in support of the writ denial within 30 days of this order. At a minimum, said documentation should be similar to the documentation provided by the Commonwealth in its prior filings from a pertinent federal authority relative to the prior notices of refuse a writ. The information is necessary for purposes of Rule 600 and the Commonwealth's exercise of due diligence too, in light of the representations made in paragraph 6 of the defendant's recent filing, which states, the defendant demands and insists that he be present in person for any and all critical stage proceedings in Pennsylvania, and will not agree to waive or diminish in any way his right to be present as protected by the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth. The court deems the defendant presently unwilling to appear remotely, as offered by the United States Attorney's Office in the Commonwealth's prior filings. Therefore, the hearing scheduled for November 7, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. is cancelled of federal GS of this or relative to T. The defendant's request for a hearing relative to the defendant's availability and or due diligence efforts by the Commonwealth is deferred pending compliance with this order. Notwithstanding the directives herein, the Commonwealth remains under an ongoing obligation to update the record in this court every 60 days on the status of the defendant's availability for proceedings in Blair County, Pennsylvania. Additionally, the defense is obligated pursuant to the Commonwealth's updates to advise this court in writing by filing a proper certification of record as to the defendant's demand for in-person appearance, or if he is reconsidered and will appear remotely, said certification shall be filed within 14 days of the Commonwealth's recorded update regarding the defendant's availability for transport. F1 by the court, Jackie Atherton Bernard, J.
Basically, it's mentioned in the document, basically the prosecutors have 30 days to have a update for Luigi Mangione's notice to be there in person, and they have 30 days to update the information for him to be there in person. And if Luigi Mangione eventually agrees if he wants to do it virtually, that time would be changed to 14 days to update the information. And basically every 30 days they have to keep updating, saying Luigi Mangione can come or not in person. The 30th of September 2025. So basically this was on the news in the United States, just announcing Luigi Mangione's court appearance in Pennsylvania on November 7th, 2025 has been cancelled. Again, I'll put the little clip up on screen for you guys, but this is the first time when I heard about this, so I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
This afternoon, Luigi Mangione's upcoming hearing in Pennsylvania has been canceled, in part because he refuses to appear remotely. Mangione asserted his right to be present in person for his court hearings, but the federal government has denied his request to appear in Blair County. As a result, the hearing is on hold, and the court must now be updated every 60 days on his ability to appear.
Here's a comment I came across on Reddit about this that I found very interesting. Basically, what Thomas Dickie is actually doing, and I find it quite interesting. It's basically Thomas Dickie basically leaving a paper trail to basically have this dismissed. But I'll put it up on screen for you guys because they explain it very well compared to me. So I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
They're creating a paper trail to show they've done everything possible to get him to Pennsylvania if the trial doesn't start within the time allowed under Rule 600, after accounting for any excludable delays. Luigi can file a motion to dismiss the charges with prejudice, arguing that the Commonwealth didn't make an effort to bring the case to trial within 365 days.
October 3rd, 2025. So remember in that document written by the judge asking the United States government to explain their actions of like why Donald Trump went on Fox News and said a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione and not said alleged or anything, they had up to October 3rd to reply, and now it is October 3rd, and basically this document basically says, "Dear Judge, can we please have more time?" Like, if I was a judge, I would say, no, you can't have more time. Explain your actions now. Anyway, I'll put these two documents up on screen for you guys.
October 3rd, 2025 via ECF Honorable Margaret M. Garnett, United States District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York, 10007 Re, United States versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG. Dear Judge Garnett, the government respectfully requests a brief extension of the deadline to respond to the order of the court, dated September 24th, 2025 regarding Local Criminal Rule 23.1 from today, Friday, October 3rd, 2025 to Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, to allow time for the government to consult further with Department of Justice personnel concerning matters relevant to submission of the letter and sworn declaration the court directed. This short extension will not affect any other dates set by the court, including the briefing schedule for the defendant's death penalty motion. Defense counsel does not object to the government's request. Respectfully submitted, Sean S. Buckley, attorney for the United States Attorney acting under authority conferred by 28 U.S.C. Section 515 by S/Dominic A. Gentile, June Zhang, Alexandra Messiter, Thomas John Wright, Assistant United States Attorneys, 212, 637-22.
So this is a document that also was released on the same day by the judge granting the prosecutors and the United States government to respond. They said, yes, they can have more time, but not much time. They literally only have like a couple of days, up to like literally October 8th to respond why the hell this happened. I think the judge is too lenient. I would have said no. I was like, no, you don't get more time. Like, why do you need more time? Like, what shit do you need to make up to make this any better? What can you say to make this any better? October 6, 2025. If you guys remember in my last video, basically prosecutors said they would send Luigi Mangione to Pennsylvania, and I was excited about that, and now they're saying, no, we won't send him to Pennsylvania. Again, this is a document, them saying, no, we won't send him. Oh my god, literally, it's like pulling teeth. They're like back and forth every time. It's like, we'll send him, we won't send him. We'll send him, we won't send him. Like, every time. I said that earlier, but like, this is also another document, them saying, no, we won't send him. So I'll put the document up on screen for you guys. Hi, it's voiceover me. I can't believe I've done this twice already in the same video, but I also got this document from Reddit, so do take it with a little bit of skepticism.
The 10th of March 2025 Blair County District Attorney's Office Second Notice of Federal Government's Denial of Habeas Corpus ad Prosequendum Blair County District Attorney's Office the 10th of June 2025 E-Service Served Dickey, Thomas M. Sequence Number CP Filed Date Document Date Filed by Service to Service by Issue Date the 10th of June 2025 Service Type E-Service Status Date Service Status Served.
So this is a second document of the prosecutors in Pennsylvania rejecting the habeas corpus. Again, I'll put the document up on screen for you guys.
Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division Favor Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Second Notice of the Federal Government's Denial of Habeas Corpus ad Prosequendum, filed on behalf of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Peter J. Weeks, Esquire District Attorney PA, ID equals 201,051 Nicole M. Smith, Esquire First Assistant District Attorney PA, ID 200,855 Office of the District Attorney Blair County Courthouse 423 Allegheny Street, Suite 421, Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania 16648, 824-693-3010 Counsel of Record, Thomas M. Dickey, ESG. In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. CP07CR0002724-2024 second notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, and now comes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania by and through the District Attorney's Office of Blair County, and files this second notice of the federal government's denial of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, and in support thereof avers the following. Defendant, Luigi Nicholas Mangione. Defendant Mangione was charged at the above captioned criminal action numbers with forgery, utters forged writing, 18 PACSS 4101A3E3, firearms not to be carried without license, 18 PACSS 6106A1, tamper records or identification, writings, 18 PACSS 4104A, possess instruments of crime, 18 PACS, $907, and various related criminal offences, on or about December 19, 2024, Defendant Mangione elected to waive his preliminary hearing with a preservation of habeas before immediately waiving extradition to the state of New York, where he faces homicide and related charges. Said extradition caused him to be removed from the jurisdiction of Blair County in order to first prosecute him on his homicide case. The undersigned served a detainer by email and hand service to secure Defendant Mangione's appearance after the conclusion of his homicide prosecution 2. Notably, the logistics and costs for the transportation and housing of Defendant Mangione were significantly greater than a typical inmate due to the intense media and public attention generated by the New York allegations. Further, there were significant security concerns regarding the custody and transportation of Defendant Mangione due to the public attention the case has received and the threats received by the criminal justice system regarding Defendant Mangione's prosecution. Subsequent to Defendant Mangione's custody being transferred from the Blair County Sheriff to the New York City Police Department, he was taken into custody by the United States government on a federal indictment for homicide and related charges. Consequently, Defendant Mangione was detained in a federal prison where he remains. The undersigned has been in communication with Assistant United States Attorney Frank Balsamillo, Dominic Gentile, and the other United States attorneys prosecuting Defendant Mangione for the purposes of providing discovery to the United States government and to ascertain whether Defendant Mangione will be physically available for court appearances in Blair County during the pendency of his federal prosecution. On or about February 12, 2025, the undersigned received a letter from the United States Attorney's Southern District of New York, which indicated that Defendant Mangione would not be made physically available to Blair County until the disposition of his federal charges, including any sentencing proceedings. The letter also indicates that Defendant Mangione will be made available via video conference should he elect to proceed in any stages of his Blair County prosecution remotely. Commonwealth received Defendant Mangione's precept to schedule hearing and demand for personal appearance on or about June 20th. 2025 and immediately reached out to the federal prosecutor's office in New York. On or about June 20th, 2025, the undersigned received a letter from the United States Attorney's Southern District of New York, which indicated that Defendant Mangione would not be made physically available to Blair County until the disposition of his federal charges, including any sentencing proceedings. The letter also indicates that Defendant Mangione will be made available via video conference should he elect to proceed in any or all stages of his Blair County prosecution remotely. Subsequent to this correspondence and at the demand of Defendant Mangione's attorney, who repeatedly has declined to allow Defendant Mangione to participate remotely, the Commonwealth filed a petition for night of habeas corpus ad prosequendum with the court. The writ has been denied by the federal authorities. 10. On 0F about September 8, 2025, the court signed a writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum. The Commonwealth immediately provided a time-stamped copy to the federal prosecutors assigned to the matter. 11. The writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum was denied via email by the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York data analyst Sheena Wills on September 20th, 2025. On the same date it was received, September 10th, 2025, the undersigned emailed the court and Attorney Dickey noticed that the writ was denied. The court indicated that a document of record was required to memorialize the denial. On or about September 10, 2025, First Assistant Nicole Smith contacted data analyst Sheena Wills, who authored the original email denying the writ, and was informed that no further written correspondence would be forthcoming. On or about September 17, 2025, the Commonwealth filed a notice of denial of writ of habeas ad prosequendum, wherein the aforementioned information was filed of record. Subsequent to this filing, on September 25, 2025, the court first verbally directed First Assistant Smith to obtain a more formal response regarding the denial from the United States Department of Justice. On September 26, 2025, the Commonwealth promptly reached out to the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York via email and advised them the court was requiring a more formal notification of the denial of the writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum. The United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York promptly responded via email September 26, 2025 with a letter memorializing the denial of the writ of habeas corpus ad prosequendum, which is attached as an exhibit to this notice. However, this email was received after close of business Friday, September 26, 2025. On or about the next business day, Monday, September 29, 2025, the court issued an order directing the Commonwealth to obtain a more formal response from the United States Department of Justice. Upon receipt of the order, the Commonwealth has prepared the instant notice with the attached exhibit from the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Wherefore, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania respectfully requests this Honourable Court to enter an order acknowledging receipt of the attached correspondence and Defendant Mangone's unavailability pursuant to PAR Crim P 600 unless Defendant Mangone elects to appear via video conferencing. Respectfully submitted, D. Loca tags Peter J. Weeks, Blair County District Attorney, Blair County District Attorney's Office, 423 Allegheny Street, St. 421 Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania 16648, 814-693-3010. Respectfully submitted. 47 to B. Nicole M. Smith, First Assistant District Attorney, Blair County District Attorney's Office. The Jacob K. Javits Federal Building, 26 Federal Plate, 37 inches floor, New York. Now York 10378 Favo, September 26, 2025. Loca tag 5U2BRP. Luigi L. Shinel by email Peter J. Weeks, Blair County District Attorney, Blair County District Attorney's Office, 423 Allegheny Street, Suite 421 Hollidaysburg, PA Re, United States v. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG. Dear Mr. Weeks, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York again respectfully declines to authorize the physical reading of Defendant Luigi Mangione to your jurisdiction while the federal criminal charges in United States v. Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG, SDNY, are pending. The defendant has been indicted in the Southern District of New York, and the United States Bar filed its notice of intent to seek the death penalty. Given the substantial federal interest in prosecuting the defendant's actions in the Southern District of New York, the United States intends to keep custody of the defendant, pursuant to the federal writ and arrest warrant that were executed in this case, until the conclusion of the federal prosecution, including sentencing. Accordingly, our office will instruct the United States Marshals not to honor any writ seeking to take custody of the defendant to appear in your jurisdiction. As we previously discussed, the Bureau of Prisons can make the defendant available to you for a video conference or phone call, in the event his remote appearance is permissible in your proceedings. We very much appreciate your understanding. Respectfully submitted, Sean S. Buckley, Attorney for the United States Attorney acting under authority conferred by 28 U.S.C. Section 515 by Dominic A. Gentile, June Zhang, Alexandra S. Messiter, Thomas John Wright, Assistant United States Attorneys. In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania vs. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. CP 07CR000274-2024 Certificate of Compliance. I certify chat this filing complies with the provisions of the Public Access Policy of the Unified Judicial System of Pennsylvania. Case records of the appellate and trial courts that require filing confidential information and documents differently than non-confidential information and documents Respectfully submitted, Fal Peter J. Weeks, District Attorney. In the Court of Common Pleas of Blair County, Pennsylvania, Criminal Division, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant, IS Certificate of Service I, Peter J. Weeks, District Attorney, do hereby certify that I have served on this day a true and correct copy of the foregoing motion via email to Thomas M. Dickie, Esquire, ESG 308 Orchard Avenue, Altoona, Pennsylvania 16602, date October 2nd, 2025. Fal Peter Weeks, ESG, for the Commonwealth.
So sometimes when I write my notes, I don't go through them and like do spell check because, you know, I'm the only one reading them and I know what I'm on about. But sometimes it's way off. And it literally just says skin decisions, and I just think that's kind of funny. Anyway, so the 7th of October 2025, basically a news clip came out of people in Pennsylvania. It had like Thomas Dickie in it, it had prosecutors in it, basically saying Luigi Mangione won't be appearing in Pennsylvania. And I won't show you guys the clip because literally the last two documents I just showed you is literally everything what they said in the news clip, but I will put it in the sources section on the website if you want to go check it out. I just don't want to like give you guys the same information twice, so I just want to put that here. A news clip did come out on October 7th, 2025. 8th of October 2025, basically a couple of things came out, actually a lot of things came out on this day. Basically the document where prosecutors and the United States government responded saying, hey, this is why this happened. I read the full document. It's fucking bullshit, I think, anyway. If I keep talking, I'm gonna be so mad. Anyway, the prosecutors and the government saying, no, it doesn't relate to us whatsoever, no. Anyway, I'll put the document up on screen and then you guys can be as mad as I am. Anyway, I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
October 8th. 2025 via ECF Honorable Margaret M. Garnett, United States District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York, 10007 Re, United States versus Luigi Nicholas Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG. Dear Judge Garnett, the government writes pursuant to the court's September 24th, 2025 order, DKT, number 53, and in response to the defendant's September 23, 2025 letter, DKT, number 52. This submission specifically addresses the defendant's contention that social media reposts attributed to Department of Justice, DOJ, personnel violate Local Criminal Rule 23.1. While the government is cognizant of the court's concerns flagged in the court's order, the government respectfully submits that the statements identified in September 23 letter do not violate the rule or the court's order because the statements were made by persons not associated with this matter. 2 Rule 23.1 applies to lawyers and others who are associated with a case. It is the duty of the lawyer or law firm, and of non-lawyer personnel employed by a lawyer's office or subject to a lawyer's supervision, private investigators acting under the supervision of a criminal defense lawyer, and government agents and police officers not to release or authorize the release of non-public information or opinion that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication in connection with pending or imminent criminal litigation with which they are associated, if there is a one the government will address, in the government's principal opposition due October 31st, 2025. The defense's arguments regarding the statements made by White House officials too, as directed by the court during April 25th, 2025 conference, and confirmed in the government's letter of April 30th, 2025, DKT, number 30, the government previously communicated the court's admonition regarding Local Rule 23.1 to the appropriate parties, TR at 1725-18.3. Substantial likelihood that the dissemination will interfere with a fair trial or otherwise prejudice the due administration of justice. Local Criminal Rule 23.1, emphasis added, The defendant cites to social media posts made by two individuals employed by the DOJ who do not appear to meet any of these criteria. These individuals are not members of the prosecution team, or trial counsel or staff supervised by the prosecution team, or otherwise employed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, nor are they law enforcement agents working on this prosecution. They operate entirely outside the scope of the prosecution team, possess no operational role in the investigative or prosecutorial functions of the Mangione matter, and are not associated with this litigation within the meaning of Rule 23.1. See, for example, Gentile v. State Bar of Nevada, 501 U.S. 1030, 1072-73, 1991, making the distinction between participants in the litigation and strangers to it when examining a Nevada local court rule identical to our Bar Model Rule of Professional Conduct 3.6 and substantially similar to Rule 23.1. Thus, the statements reposted by these individuals, who are not part of, and do not report to, the prosecution team, did not, and could not, violate Rule 23.1(3) nonetheless, as reflected in the enclosed declaration. Upon becoming aware of the reposted statements, the department promptly directed that the posts be removed. Furthermore, the DOJ personnel who made those posts have been informed of the court's most recent admonitions regarding public statements by DOJ personnel. See Declaration of Attorney for the United States, paragraph 5. In a similar vein, and as further evidence to the DOJ's intention to control messaging by department employees, on September 2, 2025, prior to the instant motion or this court's most recent order, the Executive Office for United States Attorneys, EOUSA, also recently issued new review and approval processes for any public statements by employees of the United States Attorney's offices at panels, conferences, and public events. Further, all DOJ employees are subject to governing regulations and policies of the department. For example, all DOJ employees are subject to 28 CFR Section 50.2, an internal department regulation regarding public statements by department employees. While these regulations and policies of course do not create rights enforceable by criminal defendants or supply an independent basis for relief in a criminal case, we will continue to confer with personnel throughout the Department of Justice, including at the Office of the Deputy Attorney General and EOUSA, regarding the requirements governing public commentary about criminal cases, and how such communications should be handled based upon the circumstances of this case and the concerns expressed by the court here. In any event, the defense has not identified any presumed or actual prejudice flowing from the social media reposts at issue. The defense offers no evidence that any prospective juror has been exposed to or affected by the reposted content. See Skilling versus United States, 561 U.S. 358, pages 381 to 99, 2010, describing with approval the district court's use of voir dire to prevent the spread of any prejudicial information to other venire members from exposure to pre-trial publicity, and fails to apply the governing law, which holds that prejudice should be presumed only in truly exceptional cases. See Turner versus State of Louisiana, 379 U.S. 466, 1965. Finding 3, the government acknowledges that it did not clarify its interpretation of the precise scope of Rule 23.1's application during April 25, 2025 conference, when the court first addressed it, TR at 1718-18-3, this in use of deputy sheriffs, who were also witnesses in the case, as shepherds for the jury, nor does the defense show the substantial likelihood of material prejudice required to regulate participant speech, a standard that, in any event, applies only to covered speakers, which these officials are not. Gentile 501 U.S. at 1072, 1073, upholding restrictions on statements by attorneys representing clients in pending cases, and making the distinction between participants in the litigation and strangers to it. While Rule 23.1, D7, treats opinions on guilt by covered persons as presumptively prejudicial, to establish a violation of the rule, the defense must establish a concrete nexus between the challenged speech and the fairness of the trial. One relevant factor is the length of time between the challenged statement and the trial. Skilling, 561 U.S. at 383, no presumed prejudice found because over 4 years had elapsed between Enron's collapse and Skilling's trial, and the decibel level of media attention diminished somewhat, and, here, trial has not even been scheduled, to the extent the court considers whether a posting constitutes the poster's own statement. At least one court in this district has determined that a reposting is not necessarily an endorsement of the original tweet, much less an endorsement of the unexpressed belief system of the original tweeter, as a matter of law. Flynn v. Cable News Network, Incorporated, 621 F sub 3D 432, 439, SDNY 2022, even assuming the reposting, by individuals outside the prosecution team, of social media messages originally posted by individuals outside of the DOJ could fall under Rule 23.1. The rule outlines measures that can be taken to address any potential prejudice with respect to the actual venire. See Rule 23.1, H. Sanctions or other extraordinary relief, particularly at this juncture, are simply not warranted. Sean S. Buckley, attorney for the United States, acting under authority conferred by 28 U.S.C. Section 515 by S/Dominic A. Gentile, June Ziyang, Alexandra Messiter, Thomas John Wright, Assistant United States Attorneys, 212, 637, 2200 Enclosure CC, Counsel of Record, via ECF.
Basically, on the first page of this document, it's literally them saying, no, it doesn't count. Like, it doesn't cover official people, like politicians like Donald Trump. But it also was mentioned in the document those tweets that were retweeted needed to be deleted. I'm not sure if they have been deleted or not. I don't have Twitter, so I don't frickin' know. I don't care if it's called X, it's still Twitter. And basically, it's mentioned in the document the prosecutors failed to find anything to actually prove this affects his case. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm so mad. There's another document from the prosecutors that came out on the same day, so I'll put it up on screen for you guys.
United States District Court, Southern District of New York, United States of America v. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, Defendant. Declaration of Sean S. Buckley, 25 CR 176. MMG, State of New York, County of New York, SS, Southern District of New York, Sean S. Buckley, pursuant to Title 28, United States Code, Section 1746, hereby declares under penalty of perjury, 1. I am the Deputy United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York and appear in this matter as Attorney for the United States, pursuant to authority conferred by 28 U.S.C. Section 528. 2. I respectfully submit this declaration in response to the Court's September 24, 2025 Order 3. I have personally communicated the Court's September 24 order, including its admonition that future violations may result in sanctions, which could include financial penalties, contempt of court findings, or relief to the prosecution of this matter to the Deputy Attorney General. 11. The instructions the Court issued during April 25, 2025 conference were also communicated to the Deputy Attorney General's office on April 26, 2025. As explained in the accompanying letter, the government respectfully submits that the social media reposts at issue, made by Department of Justice employees who are not associated with this prosecution, are not subject to Local Rule 23.1. 5. Based on my conversations with personnel within the Deputy Attorney General's office, I understand the following. I, the DOJ personnel who reposted the information, were not aware of the Court's prior admonitions. 2. Upon becoming aware of the reposted statements, the department promptly directed that the posts be removed. And 3. The individuals who reposted on social media now have been informed of the admonitions in the Court's most recent order regarding public statements by DOJ personnel in connection with this matter. 6. This office and the prosecution team remain mindful of our obligations under Rule 23.1, as well as the obligations of our agency partners on this case, and others over whom we have supervision. As this office has done throughout the pendency of this case, we will continue to comply with Rule 23.1 at all times. Dated, New York, October 8, 2025.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see in the next couple of days or weeks what Luigi Mangione's legal team has to say about all this. The 9th of October 2025. So this document literally came out today, like this morning, as me recording this video. Okay, technically for me it is October 10th, 2025, but like for people that live in the United States and that part of the world, it is October 9th, 2025, so I live in the future. Anyway, so this document did come out this morning for me, and I literally could not be bothered to like go read the document and write little notes and break it down for you guys and then record this video, because it happened literally before I was going to start record and I did not want to do that. So I'll put the two documents up on screen and then voice over me will like break it down for you guys. So here you go.
October 9th, 2025 by ECF, the Honorable Margaret M. Garnett, U.S. District Judge, Southern District of New York, 40 Foley Square, New York, NY 10007 Re, United States vs. Mangione, 25 CR 176, MMG, Dear Judge Garnett, on Friday, October 10th, 2025. Counsel will be filing an omnibus motion that will include a motion to dismiss and a suppression motion. Although this court's individual rules limit memoranda of law to 8,750 words, counsel respectfully requests permission to file an oversized brief so that counsel can adequately address these various issues in one omnibus motion. Given that the motion addresses several issues, counsel expects the brief to be approximately 15,000 words, that is, approximately 50 pages. We have spoken with the government, and they have no objection to our request. Thank you for your consideration. Respectfully submitted, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, Mark Agnifilo, Jacob Kaplan, CC, Gut Counsel, via ECF, Moskowitz, Colson, Ginsburg, and Schulman, via ECF.
Hi, it's voiceover me. So I said two documents, I meant one document. I don't know why I said two. I think I just saw two links and I just immediately thought, oh yeah, there's two documents I haven't read. But in reality, it's just one document. But basically, in this document, it's just Karen Agnifilo requesting we have more words in the motion because it's such a big complicated case and there's so many things we need to put into it, and can we have more words for it, and that's normally expected. Again, we saw this before we went over the motion to get rid of the death penalty, and in this there were no objections for the amount of words they can use in this document. Also, I do apologize, I've been messing up so much in this video. I was just really stressed about life when I recorded this, and I just had a bunch of things in my mind, so I do apologize about that. Welcome back. Okay, so that is all the current information we have about Luigi Mangione's case as me recording this video. Hi, voice over me again. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, a motion did come out by Karen Agnifilo that came out on the 10th of October 2025 US time, but for me it came out on the 11th of October 2025. I will cover that document in my next video on Luigi Mangione. It's probably going to be another long video like my last two motions by Karen Agnifilo. I'm very curious to see what Luigi Mangione's legal team will say in the next couple of months about all this. So now we're going to be moving on to like things that aren't really relevant to Luigi Mangione's case, but things I do want to mention, and also my final thoughts about the entire Luigi Mangione case at the moment. So like, hearing everything what's going on in Luigi Mangione's case since the 16th of September 2025, and literally hearing everything from like the prosecutors, mostly the government, and like what the hell they're doing, it's like literally hard sigh, like what the fuck are they doing? Why do they feel like they can say whatever the hell they want and no consequences will happen to them? On one hand, it's like kind of good for Luigi Mangione's legal team, like they're getting more things to say, hey, look what's going on, we need to have something in place. But then on another hand, it's like politicians and a lot of people in power in the United States doing whatever they want and saying whatever they want with no consequences, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like not just me who has this same reaction to like politicians and all that talking about this case like it's nothing and using him like a pawn. Like I've talked to people about this online about this and they feel the same way. So I do kind of get this sad feeling still and like a little bit of ick about this, where people are only paying attention about this case literally because of like how Luigi Mangione looks. Like I mentioned this in my last video where I think a lot of people were mentioning when they saw photos of Luigi Mangione, everyone was going, oh my god, he's so cute, he's so hot, oh my god, he's jacked. And it's like, that's what people are saying. But like, a lot of people are saying, oh, he looks bigger, like he's like jacked, like he worked out. And it still makes me feel quite gross and icky hearing those comments towards him. And that's like the only reason people are like focusing and paying attention with this case, because they just think he's hot and that's it. They don't think the injustice of like what's happening in this case from like prosecutor side of the things, the police side of things, the actual fucking United States government about things. They only care about Luigi Mangione's face and his body. And yes, he is a attractive man, and yes, I've said this before in the past, but that shouldn't be the reason why you should be paying attention to this case. You should be paying attention to this case because of what everything surrounding it is going on, instead of who he is as a person, like I said in my last video. But I want to bring this up here as well because I still very much feel like it is relevant. You need to remember he is a real human being. He isn't just a piece of meat to idolize and stare at and make fan fiction about and TikTok edits. And he is a real human being, okay? Like, it probably does not feel good whatsoever knowing everyone is staring at you, and he probably feels really uncomfortable knowing people only idolize him because of his body. And saying that as a woman who knows that feeling, this is like turned up, say, probably 11 towards him, because his camera's in his face all the time, every time he walks out of the courtroom to one of his court appearances. And dealing with all that on such a public display would be such a uncomfortable feeling, and I feel like saying uncomfortable is like an understatement, and I'm pretty sure he already knows a lot of people just think about him because of his body and how he looks, and it's not a good feeling just knowing people think of you only in that way. And again, he is a real human being. Again, I said that in my last video, but I keep saying it. And that video was like 2 weeks ago, I might add, but it's still very much a thing now, and I know it just gives me the ick every time I read stuff about that. And it makes me quite sad as well, like, that's the only thing people care about. Or at least majority of the people care about listening about this case. So now we're going to be moving on to like things that aren't really relevant to his case, but I do want to add here. I kind of hate what the frickin' government is doing, like trying to link Luigi Mangione to like this other case of this politician who got shot a couple of weeks ago. I know their names, I won't say them, but I hate the government is trying to paint Luigi as like a freaking extremist on one freaking side compared to the other, when we haven't heard anything like that from Luigi. I don't think he has any like political strong views compared to like a lot of other people in the United States. It's mentioned in the like document written by Karen Agnifilo when like Donald Trump went on Fox News. He doesn't have anything political views, extreme political views like that. So I kind of hate the government and like politicians are fucking doing that, like trying to connect him to like this other case of this politician who got shot. I won't be covering that case again. I was busy at the time when that happened, like literally editing the last Luigi Mangione video when that happened, and I won't be covering that video publicized, and I won't cover that unless there's like a lot of injustice in the media. Shooter's case, right? That's probably like the only time I would probably pop in and maybe say something about it. But I won't be covering that case on this channel because, again, I want to keep talking about Luigi Mangione. The media doesn't really like getting the accurate information about him out there. But I won't be covering that case on this YouTube channel. I kind of want to put that here. But I kind of hate that's what they're doing. They're trying to make links that don't fucking exist to fit their agenda. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It does not exist. Stop saying this. Like, stop putting words in Luigi Mangione's mouth to fit your agenda and point, when he's literally not related to that case whatsoever. I do really hope Luigi Mangione is doing okay. It'll be very, very interesting to see what's going to happen in the future with Luigi Mangione's case, especially with all this politician crap going around his case. Like, we've seen it all the way from the beginning. This entire case has been so politicalized and so freaking corrupted by the police, and so many of Luigi Mangione's rights have been violated, like so fucking many. I've lost count at this point, but it's fucking insane, this case, I swear. And the media is doing a terrible job, except you Status Quo News. You don't know who I am, that's okay. They're like the only people talking about this case, and me. So literally after the 16th of September 2025, majority of the Luigi Mangione subreddits are literally like crickets, like nothing is happening. Like, compared to like the beginning, literal crickets. Like nothing there. It's like, why is this so quiet here? I found that quite interesting, something I want to add, but I think I mentioned this in my last video as well. I think, and someone also mentioned to me, credit to that person if you were watching this, who said this to me, but it's very much like because the lack of photos of Luigi Mangione, and again, the hype's kind of worn down because around him, and not many people kind of like want to keep paying attention because they're kind of bored of it. Anyway, it's kind of like sad. It's like literal crickets in there. So, if you guys remember a couple of videos ago, I covered a document from someone who allegedly said they were there in the courtroom in one of Luigi Mangione's court appearances. It was the one where there was like no cameras or anything. So I did cover that document because I think it was very useful to like know what was going on in that case when we didn't get photos or anything like that, compared to like this time around. We did get photos, we did know how he looked and all that, and if it was okay or not, you know, compared to like earlier in the year. And so 2 people on Reddit posted their experiences of the entire thing, and I did read both of the documents, and I'm not going to cover them in my videos because, again, we already know what he looks like. We're not just relying on like photos and what it actually was like in there, because we have videos, we have photos, we have videos, so I'm not going to go over those documents, but I am going to put them in the sources section of the video. You can go ahead and read them, I don't mind. But I did read the documents, and some things I do want to note that I kind of find interesting, because again, there was no like video cameras in the courtroom, but there were like photo cameras, if that makes sense. A couple of things I do want to say about it. This isn't me like nitpicking or anything, there's just things I want to like mention. So in the documents, it says people who allegedly were there did say there are things in there from like people that are in the Reddit community, stuff like that, all that kind of drama, not chronically online, so I didn't really know what it is, and I don't live in the United States, so I don't really know what that stuff is, the Reddit community stuff. So again, I'm not chronically online, so I don't really know what it is. You guys might know the Reddit drama and all that, I don't, but I literally go into the subreddit, I get the documents, and then I leave. I don't do anything else. Like, I just do my own thing. I'm not chronically online to know about that kind of stuff. Someone explained it to me, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Again, I only look at the legal documents for this kind of stuff. I don't get too much involved in the Reddit community drama stuff. Hey, voice over me. I'm sorry I've done this so many times in this video. I was very much not in it in this video. I'm sorry when I started recording. So 2 more things I do want to add here that I thought I had this written down in my notes before I started recording, but I think I just thought about it. I just didn't written it down when I was writing my script for this. But 2 things I do want to mention that was also in the document that I thought I should mention that allegedly happened. Again, we don't really know for sure if these actually happened, but I just thought I should mention here anyway. So one of the things that happened that I thought it was kind of sweet, like a little thank you to Luigi Mangione's supporters. Like, apparently Luigi did a little small smile, like the little like shy smiles you do towards his supporters when he was walking out of the courtroom, and I thought that was kind of sweet, like a little thank you for them. And gratitude towards them, and I thought that was kind of sweet. And also another thing that was also in the document, apparently after that he was like shoved, and some people were saying it was like because he did that slight little smile towards his supporters, or he wasn't like walking fast. Again, don't really know, take it with a little bit of skepticism, but I thought I should add those things there that are worth noting. But I don't want to add that there. So yesterday, again, a lot of things came out yesterday, my time anyway. I know Stephanie Sue, she is a YouTuber. She has, I think, 3 YouTube channels. I think one's like a blog channel, and then another one's another podcast channel talking about fun, celebrity, goofy things. And then she has another YouTube channel, is more about true crime and all that. I am subscribed to Rotten Mango. I like when she covers like overseas cases, and I really like trial side of things. Anyway, so I do know she has made a podcast episode and also a YouTube video about the latest court hearing of Luigi Mangione. Hi, it's voice over me. So the video I'm talking about, because she literally came out with another video about Luigi Mangione that like came out a couple of days ago when I started editing this video. Again, I haven't watched that video either, but the video I'm talking about here is the video where I think she interviewed someone who stayed at the same prison as Luigi Mangione is at now, and also Diddy. Again, I haven't watched the video, only read a Reddit comment to understand what the hell's going on in that video, but she has released another video about her being at the Luigi Mangione trial in New York that happened on the 16th of September 2025. I still have not watched that video, but she has released 2 videos instead of 1. I have not watched that video yet or listened to the podcast yet. I listened to like 2 minutes of it, and when I was getting ready in the morning, and it's like I'm not gonna watch this. It's like I might watch it later on, but I don't really want to like watch the video to like have a bias or whatever before I make this video. Normally that doesn't really happen, but I didn't want to watch it for that reason. And also, I didn't really want to watch the video or listen to the podcast episode because it's like, I don't want to hear things I already know about, which is gonna say in that video. But then you guys can go watch the video, I don't mind, and then I come back and watch this one. But I just thought I should add this here because, you know, she is quite a big YouTuber who covers a lot of true crime cases compared to like me, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch it or not. Again, I've only watched 2 minutes of it. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. I don't know. Anyway, and like the reason why I mention it is because like not many people are like talking about this case as like in depth compared to say Status Quo News. I mentioned them multiple times in the past. I have a little playlist of what they have on here as well, and me. Like I don't hear any other YouTube channel covering this case in this extent. This is not me tooting my own horn, this is just me pointing out the obvious. So, Status Quo News and then like me. So that's why I kind of mentioned Stephanie Sue's video. So again, I haven't watched it, I don't really know what she's written in it or has not written in it. Anyway, I haven't really watched it, but yeah, I just thought I should put that here anyway. And I can't imagine what the hell Luigi Mangione's feeling right now. Like, this is my last video, like, he does look like a man who's been in there dealing with that kind of stuff for such a long time, and also dealing with everything. It's insane. Like, I do really hope he's doing okay in there. I know he has back pain, and those mattresses probably don't feel good, or not good for your spine. But yeah, I hope he's doing okay, even if saying if he's okay is not the right words. I wish there was a word for like, I know you're in the worst place possible right now, but I care about you and I'm concerned about you, and that's it. Like, I want that word, and I don't think saying I hope they're okay is the right word, you know? Anyway, it'll be very interesting to hear what Luigi Mangione's legal team in the future about all this, because oh my god, it's insane. But I think that's really it for my opinion about this. I know I should be more angry, but I'm really tired right now. But I am like so fucking angry and mad about hearing all the politicians saying a bunch of things about Luigi Mangione, putting words in his mouth when literally there is no links whatsoever to that crime, to allegedly what Luigi Mangione did. Anyway, I'm gonna call this video a day. Hope you guys found this video interesting. Hopefully this video isn't as long as my last videos. Holy shit, they were long. I do apologize. There's just a lot of information. I can't shorten those videos if I wanted to. Again, I want to show you guys the full information instead of giving you like 10-minute videos. Like, no, I can't brief it down. I want to give you the accurate information. So sorry those that were so long. It's all there if you want it. Anyway, so thank you for watching this week's video. You can subscribe if you want to. It's okay if not. And I upload every week, sometimes 3 times a month. Depends what I'm working on. I think I'm leaning more towards of like 3 times a month because, I don't know, I think that's more manageable for me anyway, for these type of things. And also my other channel that I've kind of abandoned, I'm sorry. Where like I posted 3 times a month. That was like more manageable, so I think I might start doing that going forward and stuff. And if you want to keep up to date with the channel and see a little behind the scenes stuff, you can follow the channel's social medias. That's where I post a little behind the scenes stuff, what I'm working on and all that. So that'll be in the description down below. And if you want to follow me personally, all my social medias are down below if you want to follow me on there. And yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching this week's video. Bye. Okay, now I have to like pick a dress out for tomorrow. I'm going to a wedding I didn't know I was going to. I thought I was walking your dog and that's it. No, I'm going to a wedding.